So, I always see these headlines of these stories, and it's really crazy of how many there are. I decided to talk about this one because I do see these a lot. There's a lot of these, and there are a ton of state legislatures or state representatives and state senators who are just completely buttfuck crazy, who are Republicans. So we have a story here. So an Oklahoma Republican wants the law to define wildlife as God's property. Yes, he wants the law to say that it's God's property. So what the fuck does that mean? Let's read into it. It says, an Oklahoma Republican wants to reclassify wildlife as the property of, quote, Almighty God. State Senator Nathan Dam said the legislation would remove outdated language and give the legislature more control over wildlife management. The way it currently is stated is that all wildlife belongs to the state, which means the state could potentially be liable. If you hit a deer with your car insurance, is going to call it an act of God. So this is just aligning it with the Oklahoma preamble to the Constitution, which uses the phrase Almighty God. So Senate Bill 1457 would change the wording in the statute, quote, make Almighty God the owner of all wildlife in the state. It all belongs to God, Oklahoma resident Pete Simpson told K4 TV. There's no reason not to have his name on it. So, this is bad. And I guess it looks like he's going to run for a seat that's going to be vacated in his state, a federal seat, which is extremely scary. These crazy people, and again, a lot of the educations, Department of Education in these states will do crazy stuff to the education that they're doing. But what really shocked me about this was when I read that, when it said that Oklahoma's Constitution, the preamble to the Constitution, has the phrase Almighty God in it, which is really crazy. I don't see how... That's the crazy part, okay? Just in general, the idea that states don't apply to the Bill of Rights, in my opinion, and there have been cases that have said that certain amendments apply to it, and the 14th Amendment, of course, has basically made it so that states can't make discriminatory laws, but certain stuff in general doesn't apply, and it didn't before the 14th Amendment. That's fucking crazy. The idea that in the Constitution of a state in which the country has literally the separation of church and state, secularism, within the First Amendment says the government shall establish no religion, it will establish no religion. And here we have a state constitution's preamble using the phrase Almighty God, which is absolutely fucking crazy. So now you basically have the government in Oklahoma's constitution having that, establishing a religion of Almighty God. It's not doing the ones of Zeus, because they're, it's not polygamy where there's, or not polygamy, my apologies, polytheistic religions, I said polygamy, polytheistic religions where there's a bunch, because it says Almighty God, so it is establishing a religion only monotheistic. So this is really fucking crazy. But again, I've covered a few stories of really crazy shit where on state grounds, state government grounds, there's the 10 Commandments. I'm like, what what? And I think it was a story, like someone ran it over because they're like, dude, like this is a clear violation of church and state, separation of church and state. But these Republicans are just completely out of their mind. They don't give a shit. They're like, Almighty God goes all over this, when you tell your car, their car insurance said, it's Almighty God. Like, what? They're just out of this world, man. Out of this world crazy. Support independent progressive media by leaving a subscription down below, leave a like and share the video, help us out on Patreon, or you can donate in other ways. Links are in the description down below. We are fighting Trump tooth and nail, and we will continue to do so with your help.